Today is Wednesday the 15th, 2021. We're at Peggy Sterling Miller's house in McAllen, Texas, and we're going to hear another story from Peggy. It's all yours, Peggy Joe.
Thanks. Okay, I am living with Aunt Augusta at this time. And this little girl, she tells me that I could be valedictorian. I don't know what that is, so she tells me, and she gives this whole criteria about being neat, about being clean, your hair can't be messy. If your part is dirty, we have to scrub it clean. So I have all these directives from Aunt Augusta that doesn't have anything to do with being valedictorian. So she explains what it is, and she said, what I'm going to teach you is how to be smart enough in school to make good grades, basically. I'm all for that because I feel very stupid. I'm afraid I don't know how to read. I'm just real concerned about my knowledge. In second grade, I get the mumps. My mumps are so sore and my face is so big. To me, I look like a freak. I'm sent home to stay in bed for a week. I only need to leave the bed for essential life. So Aunt Augusta puts me to bed at her house in my bed on her porch. So I'm trying to figure out how to read. So Aunt Augusta comes over to talk to me, sits on my bed, and I said, maybe you could help me solve a problem. I'm this little girl with problems, for goodness sakes. So she says, what's your problem? And I said, I can't read. She looks at me and she says, you can read. The problem is you don't know that you can read. So I said, so how do I find out? She said, I'm going to bring you a book and you're going to read it. You're going to surprise yourself. So she brings me this book. It's child size and cover, but it's a big book. It's a real book. So I can hold it. So I sit up in bed with my mumps and take this book, wondering why it's so special. So I read the cover. It says, Swiss Family Robinson. She said, see, I told you. So I said, okay. So I got to figure out how to read this book. I open it. I read the whole thing in one day. I can't believe I just read a book. How did I do that? So next day, I talked to Aunt Augusta about it. I said, how was I able to read that book? She said, okay, let's open it and look at it. The first part of the book is 4-letter words, 5-letter words. It goes to 6 and 7-letter words further on. By the end of the book, it's words like Mississippi. So what they take you through is little words. It's a confidence builder book. It's just absolutely wonderful. The story is great. I still have the book. It is a true confidence builder. So, okay, I know how to read. So she brings me more books, and I read books all week. Forget all about mumps. I'm never sick, never whine. I become a reading addict. Mom used to hate it that I read because I had all this noise going around me growing up, and I could cut myself off from any noise by reading a book. So I read books all summer. Mom wants me to get something one day, do something for her. She's mad because I'm reading and she needs my help. So I'm outside the roll-out windows of the kitchen, on the porch, reading. She takes a pitcher of water and pours it on me so that she can get my attention. She needs me in the kitchen and I'm out there reading a book. So it was quite funny. And when I had my own children, I just shut myself off from everything by reading. And Sonny used to say, "Okay, kids, I'm your mother today. Your mother is reading." So my kids grew up, "Don't bother mom, she's reading." And so Sonny took care of the little kids, and I read my books. So it was really quite fun, but I was really taken with reading. I loved to read. So by the time I left that bed, I could have been reading encyclopedias. I was so taken with. I probably would have if she had one. So I get back to school from being sick to be this person who can read. So give it to me. Get me educated. I'm in second grade. So I get to third grade. I have this amazing teacher. Her name was Mrs. McWhorter. She did competition teaching. She demanded that we had perfect cursive writing. We had competition. We would start at the back of the class, run to the chalkboard, and write. And by the end of her class on writing, I was number one in class. So I was a competitor like a crazy little girl. Because I'm little. Man, I'm little. My highest weight in school was 115 pounds. I'm this little kid the whole time. But boy, am I frantically competitive. Playing baseball, I had to have home runs in a game or I was a loser. So I just did it. But that was all city league, they didn't have school sports for girls. So in third grade, Mrs. McWhorter comes in one day and she said, "Okay, our next challenge, we're going to learn the multiplication tables." And I'm going, "Oh God, here comes math. I don't know so much about math. I'm really insecure." So I get home, talk to Aunt Augusta. "How do you learn the multiplication tables?" She sits right down and writes out cards. 2 times 2 equals 4. And so she has all of these cards made up, all of the alphabet, with all the information on. So I'm going to learn to multiply. I learn in 1 week. I'm the first in the class to know the multiplication tables. So my teacher takes advantage of it. And she says, "Okay, Peggy, on the board, you're going to write what I tell you to. And then you're going to answer the question." So she gives me the problem. I put the problem on the board, mark it for the total, and she said, "What's the answer?" So I put the answer in. And so I have this whole board made up of Peggy's chalk. And she gives me a stool so I can be higher. In all of this, my little panties with their 1 button holder loses it. I'm riding high. My panties are falling to my ankles on a step stool in front of the whole damn class. So I simply step out of my panties, pick them up, and leave the room to go to the restroom. I'm embarrassed, but hey, it happens. Kid next to me is peed in his chair all year. We just clean it up and go forward. Nobody talks about it. It's just the way it is. So my panties falling in that big a deal to me. Nobody ever mentions it. I put my panties back on and make darn sure that button holds. Because there's no elastic. It's World War II. So I graduate from third grade. And I've been the master of competitiveness. And so I feel really, really good about where I am in school. Fourth grade comes. They don't know where to put me. They don't know if I'm smart or dumb. So they give me the grand test of all time I've been in school about 3 months in the 4th grade where we got this tested. And so oh my gosh, I'm number one in school. I have taken this test and I'm number one. Shocked myself to death that I'm number one. Now they know I'm smart. They just never knew I was smart. I didn't know it either. So I'm on top of the world. I'm smart. I can go to school and feel confident that I'm doing well. They give reading assignments to me and you have to write book reports. I get straight A's on every book. Everybody wants to borrow my book reports. Stuff like that. I get ready for graduation. In 7th grade, I have my braids cut off. My hair is so thick, I have all this huge hair. So I go in and have it cut off. I have very short hair. All I have to do is brush my hair, wash it every other day, brush my hair, and go to school. It's so early in the morning that we catch the school bus. There's all this dew. If you try to curl your hair, the curls fall to the floor. So you enter the school bus with wet hair. So it never works to put curls in. So I solve Aunt Augusta's rule about neatness. Keep it neat. So at the end of the 8th grade, I'm called to the office. I'm called to the office to go ahead and help them with school projects and stuff. So, it doesn't bother me. So I go see the principal and he says, I need you at graduation on Sunday afternoon, I think it was. So you must be there. And I said, why? It's hard for me to get transportation. I got to have a reason. And he said, well, we have an award to give to our most outstanding students, elected by the teachers. It's the All-American Award. I knew all about that award, but it was only ever given to lawyers' daughters, judges' daughters. A farm girl never ever got it. So my good friend and baseball player Julio Guzman was the young man. So I get to the auditorium with Sylvia Vella's help. This is BB's cousin. She lives in town not far, and so somebody in the family drops me off at her house. I put on one of Margie's beautiful dresses, and I go to graduation in Margie's dress. I am perfect. I am groomed. I am clean. I'm in a pretty dress. So I get to the auditorium with Sylvia, and I have not one family there, one member of my family, out of 9 kids and parents and aunts and uncles and grandparents who all love me. I have not one family member there. And I'm given the most valuable, responsible gift I've ever had. And it's this All-American Award. God, I was so shocked to have that. I couldn't believe I had done this. Outstanding student for the whole class. That just doesn't happen to a little frickin' freckle-faced country girl. But I did it. Aunt Augusta would be so proud of me, so I go tell her about it. And she is absolutely so proud of me she could burst. But I think she's the only one I told. So I have this in my treasure box with Uncle Joe's letters that came back marked deceased. And those are my 2 treasures that I have. Uncle Joe's letters filled with little notes from Peggy, and I would go to the Post magazine. They had all these fun pictures in them and jokes. I cut out all this fun stuff about military guys stumbling around and stuff and send those to him, and so he'd have some fun things to read. I got 2 letters back. I wrote him religiously. So my treasures were there, and I was my own best hero. I had done all of Aunt Augusta's things that she said, and she made it happen. So wasn't I lucky?
Yeah.
So those are my Aunt Augusta stories. I have many more, but those are my favorite.
Wonderful, Peggy. Thank you so much. I'm going to just stop this here
Uh-huh.
and we'll wait for the next one.
Okay.